Red light, green light, red light, green light, red light, green light, red light, green light.
I was feeling good till the fuckboy at me. Now I'm trying to see what he parked his ride. I was feeling good till the fuckboy at me. Now I'm trying to see what he parked his ride. Like, come outside.
Red light, green light, red light, green light. Yo. I'm flipping it. One flip of the switch, I turn so blind with rage. The others.
What's up, everybody? It's your boy Chaos. So welcome to a new episode of Take It to the Table. I am joined by an esteemed panel here today because we've got, you might have seen our best pay-per-views of the year. We've come to the, I guess, arguably the most anticipated list and Take It to the Table, which is, of course, the worst pay-per-views of the year. And, of course, I have to get a... and this, like I said, in the esteemed panel here, of course, to my right is none other than Soul. How you doing today, Soul?
Fine as always, ready to get some angered opinions and piss people off, but that's why we do.
Right.
It wouldn't be Soul if you ain't doing that, of course. So it's all good. Glad to have you here for this great list. Let's see if you can beat what you did last year. But yeah. Let's get to it. Of course, now below is, of course, El Jefe, Ben Allison. How you doing today, sir?
I am doing good, and I'm doing very good because I'm getting ready to complain about all the things I didn't like this year. And as you know, as wrestling fans, our favorite thing to do is to complain.
Yeah.
Yes. Non-stop on X or Twitter or wherever you want to call it. And yeah, hopefully someone will care. And then you just get 3 likes. And you'll be like, yeah, see, I was right along. 3 people liked what I said. Anyway, moving on, of course, last but not least, is none other than one of the Take It to the Table originals, Mr. Rhymes. Welcome back to the show. How you doing today?
We're doing great. Glad to be back. Ready to also complain about everything I did not like this year.
Of course, yes. We obviously we did a top 10 for our best pay-per-views. This time we're being kind. We've done a top 5. I feel like we haven't got all the time we ain't got all the time in the world to, dissect everything that we've hated. Just the outright worst. Excuse me. So yeah, I've got my drink ready. So I can't wait to get into this. Of course, Anthony also gave his list as well, which we will obviously go into shortly after the intro, as always. But like I said, make sure you like, share, and subscribe, all that good stuff. Grab your popcorn and also vent with us and let us take it to the table. All right. So obviously Anthony was here, but he had to rush off, but he gave us his top 5 list all in one, and of course I'm just gonna roll it off to you here. So here's his top 5 worst pay-per-views of the year. So Anthony, yes, can you please give us your top 5, please, of the worst pay-per-views of the year in your opinion?
Okay, number 5 is going to piss off Soul, but it's AEW Double or Nothing. Honestly, the unsanctioned match was horrible. Probably the world's worst ladder match with Christian and Wardlow. I think the whole title change with Jade and everything, the best part of it was the 4 pillars for me. Number 4, I go Ring of Honor Final Battle. The I Quit match with Ethan Page and Tony Nese. They're too good of talents to be in that muddled mess. I think the whole overall show underdelivered. The women's title match, the main event, I think it went too long. I just think it was a really bad show. Number 3, oh, surprise, NWA Enough Said. It was a mess show. I mean, it was main evented by Tyrus and Cardona. Yeah, not good. Number 2, Triple Mania 31 Tijuana. Now, the only reason I watched this was because it was Vikingo and Omega, and I was on a stream watching it with Kobe and Clark. I think that's the only reason we were able to get through the show. It was absolute trash. And number 1, to no surprise, is NWA Sam Han. Do I need to say anything more? You jeopardize an entire TV deal for a Coke spot, and you insisted on doing it. So, you know. Oh, yeah.
What is the
And
Coke
the main
spot?
event was EC3 versus Tom Latimer. Yeah, that'll put butts in seats for the NWA title. And that's my top 5 of the worst of 2023.
I actually can't believe you watched them. Fucking hell. I actually
Yeah,
wish you were
no,
right.
I feel for you.
Yeah.
God damn.
Well, I mean, listen, I had to watch and see the rest of the train wreck of Samhan after seeing the Coke spot. I'm like, well, this show can't be as bad. It was. And enough said, I think I had 1 month left in the subscription thing, so that's the only reason I watched that one. But that's it.
Fucking hell.
Wow.
All right, that's it for me, guys.
All right, no worries. Thank you very much, Anthony. Thank you very much for that. God, see ya. So yeah, I hope you guys actually enjoyed that. I'm sure you guys agree. Well, you said you had a couple questionable ones there, but it's quite understandable.
He mentioned all ones that I would not. He mentioned all ones that I wouldn't even have considered watching, like a lot of
Exactly.
NWA ones and stuff.
I'm surprised he actually and spared his eyes of that monstrosity.
Right.
Totally understandable. But yeah,
I don't think I've ever watched an NWA event. I feel like I have, but I also feel like I haven't.
I feel sorry for you. I feel sorry for your pain and hours wasted on that garbage. I'm sorry. It's ass. But we digress. Let's but more importantly, let's get to our top 5 worst pay-per-views, and let's start off with number 5, shall we?
Production upgrade.
Of course.
The budget
Okay,
got upgraded.
thank you, LFA. We appreciate you right here in the Take It to the Table universe. Anyway, so if you, by the way, I'm opening my bottle right now, so I'm drinking with you. So yeah, if you please.
Not a beer. Oh,
It's not beer, it's cider. Come on, man. I don't drink beer.
that's even
Anyway.
worse.
No, it ain't worse. Anyway, moving on. So number 5, please.
So number 5, I put this on because I didn't think I really didn't enjoy the matches. I felt the show went very quick, which was just not really enticing for what the event should have been. There was a few stoppages as well, and that kind of killed the flow. And I think the main event, understanding it now, but at the moment it took the swing out of everybody's sails, and that is WrestleMania Night 2.
Ooh,
Wow.
worse. It's interesting.
What?
Yeah, Brock and Omos shit, women tag
No,
match shit. This whole Snoop Dogg Shane
Oh
O'Mac
yeah,
thing
Brock and
was
Omos. That was night 2.
No
Yeah,
sense of
yeah.
humor.
See, that should have been LA Knight. He was over as hell at that point, and it was in LA. Why couldn't he have just made the introduction? Bobby Lashley coming out and just parading with his trophy at the top of the ramp for 2 minutes was pointless as anything.
I agree.
Edge and Finn, a really great build, lovely entrances, minus the fucking shit advertising for that Pope movie that got everybody confused as fuck. And as well, the stoppage as well kind of killed the flow. Roman and Cody, I think a lot of people, myself included and many others, were expecting the title change that night. I understand it now, keeping it going, I got no complaints with it. But at the time, I got to think about there, and that was definitely a downer for me. So yeah, number 5 worst is WrestleMania 39 Night 2.
Whew.
That's understandable, especially in the main event. I remember all of us in the camp were pissed. We went to
I
sleep.
wasn't.
Everyone went to sleep angry. I had a good night's sleep.
I didn't.
was like,
Yeah.
wait, I am.
This is like how,
I was
this is how I
happy.
felt like-
Not
I
on
thought
the second,
everyone
but
was
by the time we got to the hotel, I was like, actually, I quite liked the fact that we got worked.
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean,
I just didn't like how quick it went. Like compared to night 1, it was like night
You are
1.
right. You are right.
yeah, pacing wise, it was ridiculous and it was crazy. But yeah, I totally understand that. Ben Ellison, what's your number 5?
So, my number 5, and maybe it's a good thing Anthony is gone because he won't be too happy about this. Impact Wrestling / New Japan Multiverse United. Only the strong survive. Well, if only the strong survived, then this pay-per-view certainly did not. It was an absolute, I don't know if I want to call it an absolute mess. It was just mid. Mid. as MJF says. I mean, there was just nothing good about it, really. I mean, everything, literally everything on this card under-delivered. Everything about it. And both of these companies were saying, oh, it's a new era. This is going to be fantastic. And I've also got to take into account production, right? Because these two companies, they're better than that production. It was just awful. It was shit. Honestly, I think GCW, and no insult to them or anything, but GCW, an independent company, had better production than Impact and New Japan had at this show. It was not great, to be honest with you.
I mean, didn't that show go on with Mania? We tried to stay up to watch it. We were just too jet lagged.
Yeah, so this is what happened. Look, we started watching it, and it was so boring. Me and Clark decided to get into a debate about politics, which ended up going 3 hours. Clark got drunk. I was a bit tipsy as well. It was just really like, that's how boring this shit was.
Me and Saul went to bed. We was just like, let's leave you, and we could hear you from downstairs. I was like, oh, this ain't worth it, man. We
had a lovely political debate at 1 a.m.
Fair enough. Well deserved to be on that list for sure. Mr. Rhymes, what's your number 5, please?
So my number 5, I guess, is not going to be because it was mentioned in our previous episode, but my number 5, oddly enough, is Elimination Chamber.
What?
As my number 5.
What is wrong with you? I mean, what is your malfunction?
I literally said it just as that was about to play as well. I was on the same wavelength.
I actually took that off my worst list as well.
No, because it's like, so for me, it was only because, so taking the main event out of it, because what I did love about the main event, even that's my worst list, I did love that Roman's win, like, sucked the air out of the room. Like, literally, I was watching it on the surround, and it was one of those things where when that 3 count happened, there was like, you could just hear a pin drop, and Roman's music was playing, and that was it. Like, literally, it was just and I love that about the event. However, outside of what was mentioned previously, I completely forgot what happened in the night. So I couldn't tell you a single thing about this event except for Sami Zayn versus Roman Reigns. And that's why I was like, oh yeah, this event did happen. And then when you guys were talking about it being the great couple and like all of this stuff happening and then whatnot, and I've just like pulled it up to be like, oh, what actually happened that night? And I was like, oh yeah, this was a whole event. I remember this, but I also didn't remember any of this. So that's why it's like, so if I don't remember anything about the pay-per-view and whatnot, then it must not have been that good. So therefore I was like, oh, well, I'll check it on my list. However, there are ones that I definitely know were worse than this. So that's why it's my number 5. So I'll give it that.
Fair.
Also, I feel like wasn't there like a Bobby Lashley Brock? Was it like a or something?
That awful rivalry. Yeah. And it ended in a low blow, I think. Yeah,
that was the bad moment of the night. That was the big issue.
Right. And so that was just like, if I recall, like,
I would love to know what the mindset was going in that creatively, because something didn't add up. It's like neither guy, they wanted this match, but neither one wanted to lose, and this was the only way they could get out of it. It was really weird. So
going into business myself, brother.
Definitely.
But was this their number 3?
What? No.
Would this match have been their second match? That's what I'm saying. I'm saying, was this match their number 3? Because I feel like
it was Cody got like 3.
Yeah, I think it was.
Yeah. It was.
I think you meant number 3 on the list.
So, no. I said was this like Brock and
it was
number 3 against each other. Because I'm trying to think like what else could have been the like.
It was weird. It just didn't make any sense. Sense.
And nothing came on it either, because Lashley went on to go to Omos, and Lashley went on for someone else. No, he just won the Battle Royal.
Lashley did fuck off.
Yeah,
he won the Battle Royal, and Lesnar goes on to Omos. So it was just like, well, where do we go from here, kind of thing.
Yeah,
but so that was my number 5.
Fair enough. My number 5 is actually you might be surprised at this. It's an actual NXT pay-per-view, and it is the Great American Bash. And the reason why this one stunk so bad for me, in my opinion, definitely the main stinker was, of course, our good friend Gable Steveson versus Baron Corbin in his debut match. Completely stunk out the joint. And all the other matches on there was kind of mid, in my opinion. There was obviously Dirty Dom versus Wesley and Mustafa Ali. That should have been a banger, but and nothing really came.
This night. Okay, I got you.
And then the main event was Carmelo Hayes versus Ilya Dragunov. Carmelo Hayes retained. What? Yeah, this was the first one. Yeah.
Ilya
Carmelo retained in this
number
one.
one.
Yeah. The event could have. It didn't really need to happen, but definitely one thing that definitely brought it down 100% was that Gable Stevenson fight. The fans turned on it before it, like during and after the match, and online just completely and it's to the point where they made him run away. He hasn't come back since. So yeah, that one was definitely a bit of a dumpster fire in my opinion for number 5. But yeah, can't wait for the number 4, which we are going to right now. So, if you please.
Number 4 is a show that it's an interesting one. I felt the show could have been very well, but with me personally, I just didn't really enjoy it. And that is WWE Crown Jewel.
Woo! Okay.
Good. Roman and LA I thought was solid. Cody and Priest was all right. But besides that, I just didn't really enjoy it. I thought the women's fatal 5-way match was really pointless. I mean, I didn't really enjoy it myself. And Solo Sikoa versus Cena, I just feel like Cena's not got it in him anymore. I mean, if this is his final match and he put over Solo very well, then that's absolutely fine by me. But I just feel like
in fairness, the point of a squash is that you're not meant to show anything.
It went 15 fucking minutes. That's not a squash.
No way. No.
Yeah, it did. It was long. It was long.
It was how long?
I don't even remember it being that long.
Oh,
fair enough then. Fair enough, Saul. Yeah. I take it back.
It was 13 minutes, you said. 1-3.
Io Sky and Bianca, I thought was actually all right-ish. I really more enjoyed Kairi Sane coming back at that moment. That was really more the highlight.
They wasted her return on that crowd. They really did. I was
I feel like it also was a bit of a wasted return as well. But I just didn't really care for it, honestly.
Fair enough.
Those are valid points. I kind of feel stupid putting in my best list, but it's fine. It is what it is.
Well, why do you think we all reacted when you said it? Everyone was like, "Really?"
Yeah. I thought it wasn't that bad. It was like there was good stuff and there was bad. Like I was surprised it was on either list, if I'm being honest.
Yeah. It's got grounds for it to be on either. So yeah, no, I understand that. Ben, what's your one, please?
So again, it's God Anthony's not here because I'm burying Impact once again because this wasn't. I mean, this was technically not a. Well, no, it wasn't a pay-per-view, but it was one of their specials, and it was on a network, so it's the exact same as when WWE does a PLE. So we'll say it is because it is a PLE or whatever, right? But as Impact Wrestling Sacrifice, and again, everyone was hyping this up. I watched it. And everything was mid, apart from one match, which was Bully Ray and Tommy Dreamer, which was shit. I mean, honestly, it really, really sucked. It was really bad. And I love Busted Open Radio. I love both these guys. It sucked. They did a really great build for it. The match sucked. Then the main event was Time Machine versus Kazarian, Swan, and Steve Macklin. And it was just a bang average 6-man tag match. I mean, it was just not. I mean, it just wasn't very good, to be honest with you. So yeah, bit shit.
I love that. Yeah, for sure.
He just didn't enjoy it at all.
I guess not. I can't really speak on it because I've not watched anything of Impact for years. But I'm pretty sure I believe you. It's all good.
Yeah, you remember I always say I'm just like. Impact be doing shit that we should all be watching, but why are we not watching it?
Yeah.
So when you look at their cards and when you look at kind of what they're giving you, and then when you do actually watch it, it's like, oh, okay, this is something.
No, I'm sure.
But just no one watches it, and this is like,
They also love to throw in a mid show for every good show they do as well. That's what I noticed about it. It's like one good show, one completely mid show.
Yeah.
Right.
I get that. Mr. Rhymes, what's your number 4, please?
Oh, okay then. So I feel like, weirdly enough, I think only one person brought the pay-per-view up and whatnot, and this made my number 4. So it is WWE SummerSlam
Okay.
for number 4. And my only thing is that normally SummerSlam for me is an event that I remember, or is an event that is like, they're good, because SummerSlam pretty much rivals WrestleMania in terms of how WWE presents it. However, this was the one that it was like, what? Yeah, I liked the opening match, and I liked the story being told that it was like Logan Paul wanted to go first, but then you saw him appear on UFC or wherever it was, or that his brother's fight in his ring gear still. So it was like he went from one event to the other one or whatever it was. But I liked that match, and I liked that Ricochet got showcased in the opening match. Weirdly enough, no one liked the tribal combat, whatever it was, that main event. I didn't mind the match. I didn't like the finish. I'll admit that I didn't like the finish because it made no sense to me. It's like Jimmy essentially made them turn just for you to go back. It kind of whatever. Yeah, that didn't really make sense to me. I liked what's it called? Io Sky's cash in, but I didn't like the actual women's match because the match was chaotic for many, many reasons. Someone mentioned the Slim Jim Battle Royal. That was a whole thing, I believe, because I think they took a match off the card to put that match on the card. Yeah. I think it was was it like a Rhea Ripley match or something like that? No, they had 2 women's matches, but I think they took, was it a US title match? That was
something like that. Yeah.
They took that match. They took a match off and whatnot. I didn't like that Shayna and Ronda got the spotlight that they deserved, but give them a MMA rules match, which no one understands. So the match is not going to deliver, regardless of however it's presented. It's just not going to deliver. And then, I mean, I feel like there's other stuff that happened on the card, but I couldn't tell you what they are. So I just feel like, SummerSlam to me just felt very mid. And normally I remember SummerSlam. So it's just like, that's why for me, I'm just going to rank it as number 4 on my worst list for this, which is unfortunate for that event.
Fair dues. I understand that. Okay, well, this one's gonna trigger some people. Well, when I say people, I mean one person. My number 4 is AEW All Out. Now, I don't think it's not another thing. I wouldn't say when I put this, it's not the worst. I say for me, it was just disappointing. This is what, and then I don't do a disappointing list, so that's why I put this one on here. Obviously the stuff with obviously the best matches on there, of course, Bryan Danielson versus Ricky Starks, and Takeshita against Omega. Solid, very, very good matches. But the fact that there was very minimal build up to a majority of these, and like Ben said, no hype whatsoever. Everything was focused on All In, and then this one had literally 7 days to put together these random matches. Sure, obviously the main event, John Moxley against Orange Cassidy, was fun for what it was. But I just I had my hype levels for this was completely in the dumps for it. And I don't know why. For some reason, this one was just inescapable. Like you couldn't reach the hype. So I don't know. That's why I thought. So there was some solid matches in here, but it was just a disappointment that they didn't put that much effort in this as much as they did with All In terms of the hype and actual meaningful matches. There was Chris Stanner versus Ruby Soho. No one cares. There was Luchasaurus versus Darby Allin. No one cares. Samoa Joe versus Shane Taylor. No one cares. That's what I'm saying.
That was when he pushed MJF, right?
Say what? Sorry.
That match was when he pushed MJF. So
Samoa Joe and Shane Taylor?
Yeah, but then in the entrance, MJF was walking up the ramp, and then Samoa Joe.
Yeah. That was because they had edited against the Dark Order. Yeah, that was fair enough. Yeah, that kind of planted the seeds for that somewhat, but still. And then it was Blackpool Combat Club against Eddie Kingston and Shibata. Why should I care for this? So that's why I'm saying it was. It is what it was. But yeah, that's my number 4.
Okay.
Please don't hurt me, Soul. Please.
He's
number
himself.
3. Yeah, it's good. It's good. Number 3. Let's get to number 3. Soul, the floor is yours.
Okay, so my number 3 is a show that I think started strong and ended fairly strong as well. But the in between was just utter fucking mess, and that is WWE Night of Champions.
Ooh.
Okay.
Starting off with the World Heavyweight title, AJ and Seth, absolutely amazing. And Seth has been killing it this year with that title, honestly, way better than Roman. Up there with Gunther, him and have been absolutely the best men in that whole entire company. Obviously, ending with the unified tag titles with the Usos. Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn versus Roman Reigns and Solo led to that great moment with the Usos at the end, which should have been onto something better, but sadly things went another direction. But fucking Brock Lesnar and Cody Rhodes, which was basically just a stalling match while Lesnar adjusted his fucking jocks with Cody with a broken arm, and then it should have stopped way earlier than 9 minutes and 40 seconds. Fucking pointless. Rhea Ripley and Natalia in a 1 minute, 10-minute match. Why?
Oh.
Why was this?
That you should. That reaction that match got. Whew.
And then Asuka versus Belair. I feel like the only reason this match happened was to get the title change on a Saudi show. They should have changed the titles at Mania. I feel like because that was on night 2 as well, and that would have been something that would have benefited that night as well. Gunther and Ali, it was what it was. Trish and Becky was pretty good, but I feel like it should have been in the States because I don't know if it should have been in that kind of environment because I feel like it would have just been better in the States. But yeah, just not a fan of the whole in-between sandwich of this card.
Understandable. No, that's valid points, 110%. Ben Allison, what is your number 3, please?
So, I know you guys aren't watchers of New Japan, or you watch it very rarely, so I'll quickly explain to you, right, that during the year, right, they have a big show, usually every month, every 5-6 weeks. And sometimes with these big shows, they do like a couple of nights of them in different locations. So, for example, the one I'm talking about right now is the New Beginning in Nagoya. But yeah, basically, usually they have tag weekly, or not even weekly, like they basically go on a tour for a month where they go around different like small venues and they do tag matches, and these all build up to this big show, right? And then they have 3 of them. And usually on these big shows, half of the match will be tag team matches, and then the second half of the card will be actually, blood feuds. And, essentially conclusions to the end of their feud from the month. Right. But now imagine that one show just had tag matches, and then just one singles match, and that one singles match was an MMA rules match.
Oh.
That is the New Beginning in Nagoya. It was an absolute shit show. The worst New Beginning I've ever seen in my life. They called it New Beginning. It should have been the end. Honestly, this was an absolute. This was just again. It was just shit. Like I don't know who thought it was a good idea. Whoever it is, put down the pencil. I mean, what was it you used to say to Eminem? Put down the pencil and go to bed, or whatever it was in one of his songs. I can't even remember it. Well, go put down the pencil and never book again. This was shit. I mean, who on earth thinks that you can do a wrestling event, especially, a pay-per-view, it's not pay-per-view, but, a major show, and just have one singles match, and that singles match be an MMA rules match. It's not even wrestling. You go to a wrestling show to see wrestling, all right? You want to chuck an MMA rules match in the middle of a card. Fair enough, all right? Make it work, do it well, be sensible about it. Don't just chuck it in the main event and have it be the only singles match. This shit sucked!
Well,
nice. Imagine if it was like this in the Daily when talking about the women division. Fuck.
The amount of fines I'll have to pay.
Oh dear.
Fair enough.
He feels very, very strongly about that. I felt that.
Oh yeah, that's the most heated I've ever seen him. I'm here for it. I'm here for it. Fair enough.
Mm-hmm. He did not.
We get it. We got that. All right, Mr. Rives, what's your number 3, please?
Well, my number 3 is I have to agree with my man Soul, because my number 3 is Night of Champions. I didn't. Right, this is one time we genuinely agree. Because, legit for me, I was like, I remember the opening match, I remember the finale, but the finale being that I
hold on, sorry, apologies. Hold on, this is number 4, right? Not number 3.
This is number
No,
3.
3.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Yeah, we've done 2 already.
Oh, I completely miscounted my stuff. Never mind. Carry on. Sorry. Apologies. I put 6. Flipping.
But
hell.
yeah, so because like I didn't like so okay. Personally, I would have put AJ Styles as champion because that's what I wanted. I knew that they were gonna go with Seth, but I wanted it to be AJ Styles. That was like that's where my soul was. I was like, I wanted it to be AJ Styles, but Seth won is what it is. And then it's just like I couldn't tell you what happened in the middle, but I think I remember Oscar like spitting on her hand or whatever and rubbing it in Belair's eyes. I remember that because it was like, okay, we're going to get a title change. But then I do think that should have happened at Mania because, you know, there's no point for Asuka to keep losing at WrestleMania considering who she is. And then it's like, yeah, couldn't tell you what else happened. Natty and Rhea was 1 minute. And I know I see when the people tweet about women's matches and whatnot, they just went ham for that. That was like a whole trending thing for like, I think it was like 2 or 3 weeks after that, which is why they gave Natty and Rhea that longer match on Raw that I don't think anyone watched, but they had like they had their comment, they had their sort of, oh, we're gonna give you guys the rematch or whatever. And then yeah, it's like fair enough, the main event was this. Well, yeah, like you said, it was like a shit sandwich. It was like you had a good opener and then a solid main event, but then the heel turn and stuff in the main event, it's like, okay, boom, like, you know, we're going to go somewhere, and then obviously we get Money in the Bank, and it's like, okay, we're going somewhere, and then you get SummerSlam, and it's like, oh, well, yeah, that was for nothing. so, you know, but then in terms of an actual event, mid, like, it's forgettable. So, you know, and also it was another debut, because I guess technically Zoe Stark debuted in Saudi and the crowd didn't know she was. So It's like, you know, it's like I get it. If that happened in the US, you're gonna get a reaction because we know who she is. But in Saudi, they're gonna be like, who is this woman? So yeah, for me, number 3, WWE Night of Champions.
Understandable. That's totally understandable. So yeah, because I completely miscounted. I don't know why I had 6. I had to knock off 1, and you are so lucky, Stole, because it was between an AEW show and a WWE show. So I've actually knocked that one out, and my number 3 will be SummerSlam. That's my number 3. So yeah, sure, there was some solid matches in there. There was obviously Cody Rhodes versus Brock Lesnar. And I guess Gunther versus Drew as well was solid. But yeah, Logan and Ricochet was fine, but I don't think he lived up to the hype that he could have been. The Battle Royal was whatever. It was whatever. We all know our thoughts about the MMA rules match. I think hopefully now that they've tried it with Brock and Cain Velasquez, MMA does not translate into wrestling. It just does not work. So they should never try that again. And of course, the match where everyone thinks that they jumped the shark, and looking back at it, I think they have with this is obviously Roman against Jay. That kind of just ruined the whole bloodline thing, and it just hasn't been as hot as it once was. So yeah, that's why I feel it was just, so overall it was a disappointing. There was a couple glimmers of good moments in there, but it just didn't live up to the hype that it could have been. And yeah, there was stinkers. Then there were solid matches in that. So that's my number 3. All right. So
I need to move the table. My laptop's dying the battery.
Oh.
Whoa. Oh my god. I didn't mean to talk about that.
Right.
I know.
Camera work.
I know, right?
Mixing up the setup.
I thought you said his laptop is having a diarrhea. I was like, what the hell?
Right on.
He's showing all the title belts. He's showing the cheers dartboard.
Oh, did he save it? Yeah, he did save it.
Right.
Hey.
Great go.
Oh, hi, Soul. Nice little transition there. Oh, hey, how you doing?
Try.
All right, let's get back to it. The number 2, please. So the floor is yours.
Ah, fuck. See, when I put my charger in, it lags me out like bastard.
Oh. I'll lead you back in a minute. Let me know when you're ready.
Right. Oh, good. There we go. Right, number 2, yeah.
Yep.
So to make the worst list, I feel like it's 2 categories. Is when you have a bad
Oh no.
Oh,
Oh no. Oh, is it his turn?
he
His
died.
computer's run out.
No.
Oh dear. Oh wait.
No,
Is he
he's
back?
there.
He's sure.
He's there.
He's sure.
He's there. He's there.
All right, I'll just be
He
quick,
saved
and then I'll do my part. Right. I feel like to make the worst list, you have to be really bad show or just disappointing and showing an end for their company. And I feel like with this show, it's really spending an L for an end of an era for whatever's going on with this company, people leaving, change of management. And it's a show that's close to home. This is ICW, Fear and Loathing 15.
Okay.
I'm not
ICW's
going to lie,
been-
I don't know what this is.
So ICW is a Scottish promotion that used to be on the WWE network. They used to run the Hydro, a massive thing, but now all their pay-per-views are like in a nightclub. Their weekly show has been cancelled as well. Fight Club's ended, and to watch the show on Fight, you can't because the stream's stuttery, cuts out, doesn't load properly. So watching the show live, I couldn't really see what was going on, and I had guests who I've interviewed who were on it, and I wanted to see them wrestle, but couldn't because the stream was crap. And I feel like in 2024, it's going to be really a make or break year for ICW. So yeah, it's a shame to see this.
Huh.
That is a shame.
Right. What the Charger?
Who would I know notably from ICW?
Drew McIntyre was their first champion.
Oh, when he was like transitioning.
Drew Galloway when he first started.
Okay.
Like they've made their champion Jack Jester. Jack Jester was quite a staple guy, and he and McIntyre had a feud when McIntyre returned after his initial release from Free MB. It's just a shame. Because it's like when they got off the network, it really felt like there was a vitalization and revolution, and people wanting them to do well and be better. And like I've been to the Shug's House Party show this year before All In, and I truly enjoyed it. I don't know what's happening with Mark Dallas, who is the owner now, taking a back seat. Their main commentators left. Chris Toll was a gentleman who used to do like a lot of managing and announcing for shows and hosting. He's gone. I think with ICW as well, they don't really have an exclusive roster. Like if you look at their roster, you can see them on another show in Scotland for half the price of the ticket.
Oh,
so
right.
I think they really need to have a step back and reschedule and look at what they're doing, because I really worry with going to pay-per-view only now for their shows. How are they really going to tell stories properly? It ain't looking good. That's all I can really say, man. It's a shame to put this on the list, honestly.
Yeah. No, I can imagine so. No, that does suck. That does suck. Who knows? Hopefully their luck might change over, but we'll see what happens. So, no, totally understandable. Ben Allison, what is your number 2, please?
Well, it's not a shame to put this one on the list because it deserves to be. It was an absolute embarrassment. The fact that they charged $60 in the United States for it. Quite frankly, I think Tony Khan needs to dig into his deep pockets and pay some people back, because honestly, this pay-per-view was, dare I say, the worst pay-per-view AEW have ever done, right? And the only reason I had to stop to think for a second is because obviously some of them didn't have a crowd. And obviously that's a lot harder to do, right? But this show was awful. And that show I'm talking about is Double or Nothing. It started with a Battle Royale. You guys know my thoughts on Battle Royales, especially when AEW do them. They're just messy. There's tons of botches. Nobody knows what's going on. People are just in the corner, just like, sitting against the ropes, doing nothing, looking around, waiting for their spot. It's a hard match to pull off. They didn't. The ending of it was, quite entertaining. I'll give them that once it was the last 4. But apart from that, it was rubbish. Adam Cole, Chris Jericho, an unsanctioned match. This just absolutely sucked. I mean, I don't know, the worst part is I was excited for this. I was excited for it. I thought they told a half-decent story. But the match itself went too long. It was messy. Jericho looked awful in it. And, I think Jericho is somebody who's had so many great matches throughout his career, so that was disappointing. Then we got to FTR versus Jeff Jarrett and Jay Lethal. And listen, I know some AEW hardcore fans say that people are too harsh on Jeff Jarrett. He's entertaining. Well, the numbers don't lie, and the numbers show that when he's on TV, the ratings go down. On his social media, you know, when stuff goes on social media, his numbers go down. He doesn't trend as much as the others do. It's just everything which AEW were not meant to be. They were meant to be a more sports-like product, and they were meant to give you a younger talent an opportunity. This was the exact opposite of that, right? And yes, this match itself was fine. The match was fine, but like, I just didn't want to see it. And I was pissed off. I was like, this is meant to be the tag team division. This was meant to be the place where tag team wrestling matters. And at the start, it did. I mean, FTR were your tag team champions, right? FTR were a great tag team, and you're giving them Jeff Jarrett and Jay Lethal. And I like Jay Lethal, and at times I think Jeff Jarrett's been a decent heel. But that was rubbish. Wardlow got squashed by Christian Cage, thankfully. So that was good. But yeah. You got beaten just a few seconds, whatever. Tony Storm then defeated Jamie Hayter when they did an unnecessary title change in 3 minutes. Again, I mean, it was shit. Then we got to the World Trios Open House match, and once again, this could have, been on whatever. It could have been on the middle of an episode of Dynamite, and I think it would have fitted in better. We then had Jade Cargill defeat Taya Valkyrie in a good match, but it was a bit too short. Before the moment of the year, which pissed me off the most, Chris Statlander returned. Jade Cargill suddenly became stupid and accepted a match. They then competed, and she lost, the title quite quickly. And instead of, you're really building up this match between these two women, and then having Chris Statlander defeat Jade Cargill and really putting her over, they did this shit. It was completely pointless. It pissed off Jade Cargill. It pissed off me. Chris Statlander, lovely to have her back. The match should not have happened. They should have just had it at the stare off and then built it up for the inevitable title change itself. Next up, the Four Pillars. This was the only good thing about the night. It was a good match, but the story leading up to it was diabolical. MJF buried everybody apart from himself in it, and the others just were drowning. It was sink or swim, and they unfortunately sunk that day. But the match was really good. That's that. Then the Anarchy in Arena match, or as I like to call it, Anarchy on the Stream match. You couldn't tell what was going on. The music was just dumb as shit. It was David's gone on a great rant about it, and I'll leave that to him, to be honest with you, because this was just chaos, not organized chaos. They did a much better job at it when it came to All In in the summer when they did the Stadium Stampede match. But this was just chaos, and it should not have been. It was too messy. People in the arena didn't know what to cheer for. Whoever produced it, not a job well done, unfortunately. You need to do what Gado's doing and put down the pencil. But yeah, shit show.
This is the one where they were like,
everyone should be refunded.
Music or something like that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, the guy in blackface. Yeah, the blackface guy. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I think I watched this match.
Yeah.
It was bad. Fun. I deserve a refund.
Fair dues. I don't know why I always chuckle every time I hear Ben swear, because it's so rare. It's kind of cute. Anyway, Mr. Rhymes, please, your number 3, please.
My number two.
Sorry, 2. Sorry, I'm losing. I'm drunk. Sorry.
So my number 2, which has
I'm
been
not
mentioned, I believe you guys mentioned it earlier on this show, but my number 2 was WWE's Crown Jewel. Only because this is one that I like when the Saudi shows come on in the daytime. I dislike that the Saudi shows just kind of fall flat, and I feel like but I just watched an episode of Raw. I just watched an episode of SmackDown. It's like I like when if there's gonna be a pay-per-view, give me something, and then it's like this pay-per-view kind of I felt like it gave me nothing. It's like fair enough. I think the standout point, which I think that they were trying to do, was I guess in Rhea Ripley's entrance, she was introduced by the men, which I guess in their culture and stuff, that's not how it's supposed to be. It's supposed to be the other way around. So I think that's one of those things where if you know about the culture, then you know that she's doing something big. But then it's essentially, I feel like that was a match that just wasted time, because it's like she was always gonna win. I didn't think that any of those other women were gonna beat her. So it was like, you know, it kind of felt pointless. I couldn't actually tell you what else happened on the card. I feel like, was it the Logan Paul and Mysterio card?
Yeah.
And you know, so there was that. There was, I think it was Roman and LA Knight and whatnot, which again I couldn't really tell you much about that match. I feel like no. See, I'm thinking of when Jake Paul came out, but that was in Rey Mysterio's match, wasn't it? So whatever it is. So yeah, I just feel like a lot of stuff happened on this card that kind of should have been bigger, but it just fell flat because it's the Saudi crowd, and the Saudi crowd aren't the US crowd. So, you know, and then also wasn't this Drew and Seth?
Yeah.
Which again, weirdly enough, that's one takeaway I would give from this pay-per-view, because this pay-per-view, the crowd was pro Drew. So he should have won.
Yeah.
Every single Seth and Drew match, Drew should have won. And this crowd being so pro Drew that they were, why did he lose? And fair enough, I guess on this past week on Raw, it was just like I dreaded that they were going to make us sit through 35 minutes of a match and then Drew loses, which they did. But it was like, you know, I just, yeah, this card just fell flat to me, and then I guess the crowd didn't help. So for me, Crown Jewel, number 2.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah, thanks. Rub it in my face that I wrongly put on the wrong list, but it's fine. It's all good. No, I'm playing. I'm playing.
If you
I'm
liked
joking.
it, then
I know. I'm playing. I'm just playing around with y'all. But fair enough. My number 2. I was gonna go into it. My one is actually Night of Champions. This one, yeah, it was. There was a couple like weird decisions, like the Brock Lesnar and Cody Rhodes match. This is when he had the cast on and he passed out by in the Kimura with a titanium cast. Please make it make sense. And of course the squash match.
I remember that now.
Rhea Ripley against Natalya in a squash match on her birthday, which was hilarious. And then obviously Gunther against Mustafa Ali. You can't ask me to remember even 2 things in that match. And then Trish Stratus against Becky Lynch, the unexpected win. And I think that's when Zoe Stark actually helped her. And then the other good thing about it was that we had a good match between Seth and AJ for the inaugural World Heavyweight Championship. And then obviously in the main event is when the Usos kicked that's the one.
Don't say the Usos.
It was fun. Those bits were fun, but other than that, it was a very forgettable match. Forgettable night, I should say, with weird decisions. But yeah, it is what it is, and that is my number 2. All right, I'm looking forward to everyone's number 1. Let's get to it, shall we? Cool. I'm gonna start off my one quickly with this one. So yeah, my number 1, because it's already been mentioned, and it is actually, you're gonna hate me, Soul, but it is of course AEW Double or Nothing. That one.
So that's what we just discussed, right?
Yeah, pretty much everything that Ben Ellison has said was pretty much on point. The only memorable thing I can think of was, of course, the main event, which is the Fatal 4-Way. Loved the finish when he put the title on. I think it was Jack Perry, make Darby Allin do the coffin drop on that, and then just take advantage of that. Absolutely stellar stuff. Absolutely despised the decision making with the Jade Cargill thing, and then that's what was one of her last matches in the company. Didn't make any sense. Everything else, I mean, Wardlow against Christian Cage. I think you said that was a squash match. That wasn't. It was like 20 minutes.
No, it was. Christian Cage won in 6 seconds.
What? No, I see it here. Wardlow defeated Christian Cage in 17 minutes.
The history books are lying because of Adam Copeland, right? He's got a time machine, and he's gone back.
I get it. Okay, makes sense. Anyway,
we've been doing this for 2 hours, and you only just realized that every time I mention Christian Cage, I've said he's won by a sports match.
I know. I'm sorry. My bad. And the battle royal that no one really cares about, Orange Cassidy winning against Swerve Strickland. But yeah, other than that, everything was kind of meh. Like you said, mid. The best part about it was the main event. So yeah, that's what I can say about that. So number 1, please.
My number 1 is a show that's also been mentioned quite regularly, and that is WWE SummerSlam.
Oh, that was number 1 for you. Number 1.
The good. Logan Paul, Ricochet, solid. Cody and Brock, solid. Gunther and Drew's very, very solid. And Seth versus Finn, I thought, was very good as well. And obviously the better match out of the one they had before. Now the shit. The Battle Royale, shit, just messy. I mean, LA Knight, yeah, he was over. He wins that. Cool. What does he win? Fuck all.
Right.
Shayna Baszler and Ronda Rousey, 7 minutes and 26 seconds of fucking pish. Why was this not just a fight pit match? That would have been
that's why
That's true.
anesthetic reason as well. Shayna getting the win on Ronda Rousey, who was like a former Raw and SmackDown Women's Champion, and now what she's doing is piss off. That doesn't. She's not really been elevated at all. She's just basically in the same situation, but she got to wrestle her friend on a card.
Right.
EOS, the Bianca Belair, Asuka, and Flair was just messy as shit. Like 20 minutes went for. 20 minutes of no chemistry, messy, all over the place. The only thing that really saved this was the cash in, and EO has done better for that title now. Good for her. Where the fuck did I begin with the tribal combat match? What's the fucking name of this? This was fucking shit.
Okay, so why did you actually hate it? Like, let's take away the finish. What was actually wrong with that match? Because everyone seems to hate it. I don't understand that.
So here's the thing, right? Tribal combat. If you tell me a tribal combat match, I would have thought tiki torches on the ring posts, like tribal paint, drums and all that to really give the atmosphere. Like, this is tribal combat. This is something that you are fighting over. Not a match that's just a fucking Extreme Rules match with a little gimmick name on it. Same with the MMA rules match. They're just Extreme Rules matches with gimmick names on them to make them feel better than they are. And also, what I hate about this as well is the story behind it, right? You go from Money in the Bank where the brothers... So basically, you go from Night of Champions, right? Where the brother... Or Jimmy then basically betrays Roman, and now the brothers are united and fighting against the Bloodline and making it dissolve, right? Go to Money in the Bank, they have the tag match, and then Roman gets pinned for the first time in like donkeys, and that should be something that should lead into something even more. Then we got the match, right? And this should have been where Jay won, and I've said this multiple times for the fucking Bloodline storyline. There's many ways you could have ended it. Sammy and Cody should have been the ends, even LA Knight as well if you want to elevate a talent. But why I don't fucking get at all why Jimmy would then go back on the Bloodline that he dissolved to get back in it, and now. Look at them. They're just now in. Jay's the only one who's really done much. Jimmy's now shit. He's just shit. I'm sorry. He's shit. He's basically just a meme machine with a no yeet thing. He's not really had any good parts at all of it. If you want me to compare him to someone, he's the Spike Dudley of the Bloodline now.
Yeah, the comic relief.
He's just the comic relief, the guy who's going to take pins. Solo's the better one. He's gained nothing from getting back in the Bloodline. I would have done it in this. Night of Champions, have them do that. Then at Money in the Bank, have Jimmy then betray Jay and basically be like a sleeper agent for the Bloodline. Then have a bit where Jay's gone from television, Rumble. He comes in, not in the Rumble, but he makes an appearance and basically stops like Jimmy and all that or Solo trying to stop people winning the Rumble. WrestleMania 40 have a tribal combat match, which is actual true tribal combat match with brother versus brother. Will we get that at WrestleMania? Probably, but it won't hit the same again because the Bloodline's fucking stone cold near enough at this point. It's gone on way too long. They've told all the stories they really can tell, and they've fizzled out most of them. They've let this go on for way, way too long. And if it doesn't end with Cody at Mania, it's basically now in the Godfather Part 3 of the story. It's just pish, and I really fucking hate SummerSlam because of it with these fucking matches.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah, that's that makes.
You want them to finish the story so badly, but you're not letting them tell it.
You explaining that?
Yeah, telling their shit story. I just wanted to finish the fucking story. If it's fucking
no, that match was bad. That match was bad. I agree.
Thank you.
But see, when you say it's bad, I don't think the match was bad. I think the story.
No, it was too. But the match itself was paced too slow as well. For what they promoted it as.
With tribal combat, it was slow, but it wasn't a.
It's the same thing with women matches. Fucking does the entrance, gets in a bit slow, interference, wins, continue on. It's the same fucking repetitive shit.
Yeah.
But technically, when Brock was part-time champion, he had a Formula 2, and everyone was okay with it. So why is everyone hating that it's Roman?
Because Roman had a good story attached to it, and now it's being squandered. Brock didn't have a story. Brock just Brock.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh,
Yeah.
okay. I can receive that.
What about you, Ben? What is your number one?
So-
Everyone hold on to your butts.
So you're going to be happy about this because it's not an AEW event, right?
Hooray!
Anthony's going to be happy because it's not an Impact event.
Hey!
Ben Wagner's going to be happy because it's not a New Japan event. But the
GCW.
question is, what event is it then? Well, it is a WWE one, but it is not a pay-per-view. I know, I read the terms and conditions, I know, but rules are meant to be broken, and so are tables. And this is Take It to the Table. So I'm breaking the table, I'm breaking the rules, and I'm saying the Raw after WrestleMania, because this was the singular worst episode of Monday Night Raw I have ever seen, right? And Monday Night Raw is actually my favorite weekly show most weeks. But this was embarrassingly bad. This was an FU to fans. It really was. We had the best seats I've ever had at a wrestling event. We were in this lovely, suite watching it at Wrestling Republic, right? We were loving life, okay? Loving life. But if that was the only good thing about the show, like genuinely, this show sucked. I mean, we had Omos squash Elias. We had Austin Theory defeat Mysterio in a very average match. Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn defeated Street Profits in the highlight of the night, which was still literally just an average TV match, right? Every single week on Raw, we see a match better than this was. We then saw Bobby Lashley squash Mustafa Ali, which was just ridiculous. It was just like, oh, sorry, Bobby, you weren't done. Go out there and squash Ali instead. We then had Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez defeat Damage Control for the number one contendership for the women's tag titles, and this match was just really sloppy. I've watched it back, it looked worse on TV, and I'm a big fan of all four of these women, but this just was not great at all. And then, of course, we're going to have that big main event, Cody Rhodes, Brock Lesnar versus Roman Reigns, Solo Sikoa. I was like, well, this might just save it, right? At least we got this. And then they did that angle where Brock Lesnar beat up Cody Rhodes, right? Which I liked. It was brutal, I liked it. That was the only thing about the show I really liked. But here's the thing, it went about 5 minutes too long, this attack. It was, I think it was a 13-minute attack. 13 minutes. Where was security? I know some came down, oh, it's Brock Lesnar. But come on. Like, it's, at that point then, you might as well just kill off. You might as well murder Cody. You might as well get Brock Lesnar arrested for murder. Because if nobody's stopping him, then nobody's stopping him. This was honestly just... The Raw after Mania is meant to be the best Raw of the year. And this was the worst Raw maybe ever. So listen, I mean, I don't know who was... Well, we all know there was a lot of controversy around it that day, obviously.
Yeah.
And all stuff like that. And we'll never know, for sure what, why, what, who, where, when. Well, we know where and when. But this was rubbish. It really was. It was an absolute disgrace. It was a disgrace to every wrestling fan who, traveled there. The 15,000 capacity who filled that arena. It was really, I can't even, I'm not even exaggerating this one. Like this episode of Monday Night Raw was ridiculous. People, genuinely, whoever, this is when the network should step in. Network should step in and fire writers at this point. It's that bad. Yeah.
Wow. I can't even over your El Jefe. So yeah, if you want to put that as your number one, you're fair enough. I can't stop you. You're the one that's paying the bills. No.
They treat the Raw after Mania like a pay-per-view, so technically he's not wrong.
No. Yeah, like it used to be, but for years, it's for a long time. It's been, I think, for me, the last one that actually has been great is when Dolph Ziggler cashed in and won the World Championship. Ever since then, there hasn't been a great Raw after Mania.
Paige's win was okay. That saved that show, which I think was afterwards.
Yeah, maybe that. Yeah, but then ever since then, and then I've been to a few of them. We're after Manias, and they just purely suck. But yeah, I digress. All right, Mr. Rhymes, let's wrap it up. What's your number one, please?
Oh, so my number one, and funnily enough, this has not been mentioned the entire throughout this show or throughout the previous show of our best ones. A pay-per-view that I guess just literally fell through everyone's cracks. or fell through the cracks for everyone, but this was WWE Fastlane as my number one.
What the fuck happened on Fastlane? I didn't even see it.
So this is Cody and Jay winning the belts. This was LWO, Carlito coming out for the final 10 seconds of the match. This one is SummerSlam triple threat rematch, but instead of Bianca Belair, it was Io Sky. This was John Cena, LA Knight, I believe, against Jimmy and Solo, and I think the main event was the Last Man Standing match, Seth and Shinsuke.
Yeah.
But so, you know, when you look at that card on paper, you think, okay, pretty solid card. But again, it was one of those shows where they were giving you nothing. And so they knew they were giving you nothing. And so they tried to hype it as this big night. Like, yeah, WWE Fastlane is unmissable. You have to watch it. And they gave you nothing. There was like, you know, Cody and Jay won for no reason, because how is Jay going to go from leaving a tag team to being a solo star to now being tag team champion with someone else? It's just like, whatever. And it just did nothing for either one of them, because putting them as tag team champions doesn't elevate any of them or make it a thing. Like, it didn't progress into something. And then you have LWO, who are meant to be like the underdogs going in against were Bobby Lashley and the Street Profits heels at the time? I don't even know. But they're meant to be the underdogs. And then the idea is that they go the whole match as WWE love to do this thing where they make you go the entire match as an underdog, or like a handicap match, only for like the person who's actually meant to be in the match to come in at the dead last second, as if they weren't just backstage this whole time or whatever. Because I mean, Randy Orton did that as well in War Games, and then it's like, in this match, it's like we had to sit through, like, what was it, something like, I don't know, 10 minutes or whatever it was of LWO getting beaten the hell up until like Carlito makes the save at the last minute and he's in the match for 30 seconds and wins. The women's triple threat match, I couldn't even tell you what happened in that match. I don't remember much of it. And then John Cena and LA Knight, I mean, I didn't think that they were going to lose. Who did think they were going to lose? And then, unfortunately, Shinsuke typically lost against Seth, which should not have happened. I think that, if anything, that was the match that Shinsuke deserved to win, and he should have won. I could accept him losing at Payback. I could accept that. But the second time round, he should have won that one. And so, you know, again, it was a whole pay-per-view where there's like 5 matches on the card, so each match should have had care and consideration taken into the match, and they literally gave us nothing. It just fell flat. It just felt like I sat there and wasted 3 hours of my life. It was just, meh. And the fact that, like, you know, now on this show and on our previous show, the fact that none of you mentioned it, it wasn't even a contender. It wasn't even a contender for anyone. So it was just like, you know, so my number one worst, that was the Fastlane.
Yeah, fair enough. I mean, yeah, this is what we're here for. Everyone gives their personal personal worst pay-per-views, and yeah. So what's the word? It's all subjective, you know. It's all, but so yeah. That's what it is.
Because we can all agree, like, on this list.
In the case of Double or Nothing, it was.
Yeah, in the case of Double or Nothing, it was for sure. But yeah,
I would have agreed had I watched it. So.
Oh, there you go. Fair enough.
I didn't watch it, so I think I watched that Fatal 4-Way, but I didn't watch the actual event, so I can't speak on the event. That's how I feel like I am for AEW shows. Like, I'll watch matches here and there. So like for All In, I watched Soraya's match. Yeah. For like, you know, certain shows. I watched the death match. I've watched like what's it called? Matches just here and there, but I have never sat there and watched a full event.
Yeah. That's fine. That's fair enough. Well, yeah, that is everyone's top 5 worst pay-per-views. I hope you guys had a great time ranting. I know you have, Ben Allison, for goodness sake.
I've loved it.
I was also seeing you triggered, but I'm all here for it. So thank you very much for your time on this. It's been, like I said, it's been a very eventful year, both good and bad, within the wrestling industry. And let's see what happens in 2024, ain't it? So
far we've had like one big return on, I guess, day one and whatever, and then tonight we've got New Year's Resolution. So, you know,
New Year Evil. No, New Year's
Revolution.
Right.
Sorry, New Year's Revolution. So yeah, we've had 2 sessions so far. We've got the 3rd one to come. Let's hope they continue on their up.
100%. it's gonna be a fun year. I got a feeling. But yeah, thank you very much, Soul. Thank you very much, Ben Allison. Thank you very much, Mr. Rhines, for joining us on this glorious episode. Make sure everyone subscribe to the Soul Sessions as well. It's got a whole slew of interviews lined up for you guys soon, so be sure to go check that out. Also on Wrestling Republic, make sure you go and check out the Daily Show, which we're on obviously daily. Also you us as well here at Take It to the Table on there, as well as Wrestling Off the Air. After that comes on live at the end of every episode of NXT, where you see Clark, Shad, and Drizzy on that show as well. So yeah, make sure you go check that out. Other than that, I have been your host, Chaos. He has been Soul. Down below has been El Jefe. Over there has been Mr. Rhymes. This has been Taken to the Table. Happy 2024, guys. Until next time. Peace.
Take care.